All right, welcome everyone to God. What do we call this?
You
What is
never
called
gave it a
the
name.
That's good. It
yeah
used to be happy hour.
reseller happy hour. I don't have anything other than a glass of water. Clay's got a cough.
That's only like the first or second time today. Thankfully.
Val's
I
sipping
don't
on
have anything
something.
other than a glass of water.
All right, I'm gonna mute that.
Yeah, I'm
Trying to get those watch hours. I guess before we get into eBay too much, like at YouTube, like I just started producing content again. I don't think not that long ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. And I have hit my 1,000 subscribers as of last week, and that's slowly growing. But now I'm trying to get monetized, so I need those watch hours. And live seemed to help with that. So, anybody who wants to watch my videos, even in the background, it's much appreciated, but, not necessary.
I have thought that if I'm going to I've done that before, but it's been a long time, do that for you and Mike. He needs a few more subscribers, but and then a lot of hours. But as I keep saying, Mike's should be being watched. Flipping good, check him out. Whoever's in the chat. Keep saying
he has a good channel, Mike Flipping Goodies. I actually reached out to him today. I talked to the guys. We normally do our podcast or our YouTube live / podcast on Thursdays.
Tonight, right?
We were going to do it tonight, but something came up, so we're going to skip this week. We'll be back to it next Thursday. And I reached out to Mike. I don't know, since Kevin left our group, we could add one more person.
He'd be good.
I don't know. We'll see. I reached out to him though. We'll see.
That'd be great.
All right. So this week, like the past few weeks, we've kind of been focusing on real specific topics. I guess our topic today will be our listing goals. And I see Kevin Wilson in the chat dropped his out there. We'll definitely focus on that. We'll also kind of look at the week in the big picture. And Val always has good questions we can go through, and then we can share our sell of the week and anything else. eBay, and I'm sure with Clay here, he'll sidetrack us a little bit with some non-eBay nonsense. All right. So let's start with you, Val. How was your week in reselling? I know when we started this, you want to get eBay up and running. Are you? I don't know if I asked you this. You're planning on keeping Poshmark and eBay up and running? Is that correct?
Yeah, I consider Poshmark like my main business, and I'm going to stick with it until it crashes, which I think one day eventually it will. But I just want to have eBay under my belt and know how to do it for when that day comes. And then I'm perfectly fine making that transition over. But for now, I'm perfectly fine wholeheartedly going in for Poshmark and then listing the stuff that I so far have seen is selling over on eBay.
Cool. That makes sense. And so how's your week in reselling been?
We're still on me?
yeah, we're still on you. I don't know.
It was pretty good. I actually had a lot more sales. I think I counted 5 over on eBay, which I was completely shocked. I only had one day. Was it one day of listing? Maybe 2. No, I did 2 days of listing. And yeah, I'm pretty shocked. Take a look how many I put up now. Sorry, I'm slow. But yeah, it was going pretty good. I think it was just as good as Poshmark.
That's good.
Yeah, eBay has a lot more traffic, and I think that's what we probably need to talk to when we get into the listing. Like, there's a formula to eBay. Like you mentioned, you listed 2 days and you had 5 sales. Depending on how many you listed in those 2 days, it is better to build those out as drafts. Let's just say, I don't know, for a round number, right? Let's just say that'd be a tough day, but in 2 days you did 50 each. So you had 100 listings total launched on eBay. It would be better to divide that 100 by the 7 days. Let's just say about 15 to 16 would be about 100, and have those go in daily. You could either schedule them or you could put them as drafts and launch them live each day. And it only takes a second. You can do that in bulk because eBay rewards consistency, like the algorithm. And I guess I'll kind of segue over into my week. And then Clay can piggyback off that because I know it kind of affects him too. Hey, what's going on, Craig?
Hey, Craig.
Thanks for dropping by. I did check out, I don't know if it was your last video, Craig.
I did too.
The one you had Pat D and actually the Thrifting Lounge on, and that was some pretty good content. But anyway, so for me, and Clay knows this, it's my squirrel brain or indecisiveness, whatever you want to call it. I change. It used to be very often. I will say it has been way less. Like 2021 was all clothing 99% of the year. I did a couple storage units. But for the most part, I was all clothing. Well, this past week, this is the genesis of it, because some people were asking me, like, well, why am I making a change? Well, I do a weekly what sold video where I do my top 10 sells. And as I've been looking at that, like I've been adding a couple of shoes listings per day, and I'm seeing my top 10 sells on ASP or shoes. And when I'm looking at the sell-through rate of shoes and the abundance of shoes where I can source them, and the fact that once upon a time before I was clothing, I was a shoes reseller. So for all those reasons, I've decided 2022, I want to try all shoes. And
Muchos Zapatos.
Huh?
He's going to rename his channel Muchos Zapatos.
Oh, okay, bueno. Que rico.
I actually now want to name my channel that. Muchos Zapatos.
Oh, Lord. Stick with your triple C. Keep your COVID over there. I've already had it. Anyway, so I'm doing all shoes. Now, I'm having to relearn things because Clay has been a sourcer for me, and I will give him credit. He's been a good sourcer. He goes out and he's brought me clothes, and I pay him per piece, and then I've been listing those clothes. Yeah. I was listing 31 per day with clothing. With shoes, because I'm kind of starting from scratch and the ASP is higher, I'm doing 15 per day. And I'm also having to figure out my sourcing routes because I'm doing the sourcing, at least for now. And I kind of think I have 3 different routes in mind that I want to take and what that's going to look like. So it's been a big change for me this week. Like, and I'm in Tech and Sports and Daily Refinements group. You know, I know y'all hear me preach them. I feel like I'm a disciple because I think their methodology is true. The proof is in the pudding. But
what's his real name, you said? Oh,
bye.
Good. We don't need him.
I don't know what it does that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna keep talking, and the cam will come back. It does this like at this time every time we go live. Anyway, like not happy that I switched because one of the good things about doing clothes is the abundance of clothes. So easy to scale up. There's so many of them, and if you really know that niche, you can get fast and list a lot. But there is an X factor for me, which is the fact that I really enjoy sourcing and listing shoes. Like I've been really happy listing shoes. It's not as tedious to me as listing clothes, even though I got to the point where that wasn't that bad. I'm just enjoying it more. So I will say, as I've been listing, and here's another thing, Val, to kind of tie back to the point of listing daily. I am redoing my oldest clothing listings every day. I'm ending them. I'm selling similar, but I'm also going through them, fixing titles, double checking item specifics and price. So it's, in a way, it's not like new clothing listings, but semi-new in eBay's eyes. Plus, I'm putting up more shoes, and I'm noticing that my shoe sales are starting to pick up. My clothing sales so far have pretty much stayed about the same. So that's going to be something I'm going to have to look out as I'm going through this process, because like if I stopped listing all clothing and shoes and I started listing tiddlywinks, well, eventually my clothing and shoe sales are going to there's a kitty cat, are going to Clay's Corona cat
Corner. Closet corner.
God.
Yeah.
Clay makes it hard for me to focus. So it's gonna be, but if you quit listing something, the algorithm's trying to figure out the traffic to send you. So whatever you're listing consistently in the amount, your traffic will be based on that. So if you're listing 2 days a week, we need to figure out like how many roughly you want to list per week. And then I can show you how to set that up as a draft. And then you can launch those all at once each day.
Okay.
I know I've been talking a lot here.
I had a few questions about everything you just said.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let me get Scott's comment real quick. Not Scott. Craig's comment. Land Shark Picker. He says sourcing shoes in a thrift store doesn't take as long as digging through clothing. That's a good point. So that's a really good point, Craig. Like for me, switching to clothing's what I am now going to be doing. Obviously, I was going for almost no sourcing because Clay was doing it. Or if I went out, it would take me a long time. To now, I'm going to be going to more stores, more drive time. But each store will be less time in because the number of shoes versus clothes is a totally different scenario. But the key to all of this is niching down and becoming an expert in that field. Like part of my daily ritual, I study soles of shoes, men's and women's. And I'm especially learning more women's shoes because I think a lot of people that sell shoes, they know men's athletic shoes, especially, you know, like the hype shoes. But I don't think as many people know shoes outside of athletic shoes, and especially that get into the women's shoes. All right, but I've been talking a lot. Let's before I answer yours, Clay, do you want to chime in real quick? Your week, I know Clay's obviously been sick, but I'll let you talk.
All I've done, hi cat. That's one of the Val. That's my stray cat. That the backyard is now hers. She feels safe. My friend gave me like a old tote, so made it in the cat box, you know. But
and that sums up Clay's week.
Yeah, there you go. Just lots of good TV.
I'm just kidding.
Sleeping. Now I did go mail my 3 packages on Monday. Didn't dare list anything because I didn't want to have to get out to try to be near anybody, you know. But yeah, basically I declined a really poor offer instead of even going back and forth because I didn't want to have to go mail this thing. So I'd already priced these jeans, whatever they were, low, and they offered like at 25. And then I checked, the guy offered 10, and after I declined it, the average sale price was 35. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go back and forth if I've already, you know, done that. So I'm going to work on the garage right now some, because here, I'll show y'all. I think I sent a picture to Brian, but I don't know. Can y'all see? Yeah, look. See, Val, you like how I have just enough room to park a car.
Is that where you list?
Well, eventually it's going to be. I was doing it inside, but I want to get it all out here. But a lot of this is like storage unit, hard goods, some clothes I had, clothes to sell locally. Some of that's clothes to sell locally. Anything like boxes and totes, that's more or less from that storage unit.
That would be a good thing to work on while you're quarantining yourself, going through all that.
Well, that's why today, now that I have some energy, I'm going to work on it while we do this and a little after and tomorrow. And I'll be home at least through the weekend, if not maybe Monday, you know, and then I'll figure out what the work week is. That also depends on money. Because my bank account's okay right now, but I got to pay the rest of the property taxes. So,
all right. So Clay's trying to figure that out. And if we could get Clay on some type of listing, even if it's a few a day, I think the consistency would help. Hey, what's up?
The goal, yeah, even 5 to 7. But I figure if I can get this organized first, I got to get this organized first. I mean, I have plenty of room inside, but I just want to do it all out of here or in the sunlight. But I want to have the house for the house and this for this, you know.
Yeah, the separation of home versus work is important. What's going on, Scott? Glad to see you in the chat, my friend. All right. So Val, you said you had some questions about that. Let's hear.
Okay, so if you're switching to shoes, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, because I don't know how much of it is like public information, but like Clay was a sourcer for you. But do you have other sourcers?
Clay was the sorcerer for me, yes.
The only sorcerer? Because I didn't know if you had any out-of-state people sourcing for you, and if so, will that affect switching to shoes? Because that'll be quite a bit more.
No, that's a good question. Like I've talked. Well, number one, there's less shoes out there. Clay and I've talked about this a little bit. I mean, we're pretty transparent. Like he could, especially at the bins. But like the beauty for him was like he could go through all the bins and pull out 100 pieces and make good money because I was paying him per piece doing that. Whereas the volume, I think the only way it would work would be like, and of course, you know, I can't speak for Clay. I'm not trying to push anything on him because I've already kind of messed up what he was doing. And I do feel guilty about that, to be honest. It would probably have to be a per hour kind of thing, where it would be per hour and then he sources for me for shoes, because you can't guarantee like how many shoes you're going to find at a specific thrift that meet my my threshold. Now I do have someone that sources for me. Like y'all would both know. I'm not going to put him out there because I don't know if he wants to be put out there.
Right.
But somebody that y'all both know that sources for me occasionally for shoes, and I'm always looking for more. I don't know if you want to source shoes for me, Val. I would be interested. But you know,
well,
so
my second question I kind of already answered in my head, but you guys have a lot more thrift stores than I have here in Little Canyon City. We have 2 thrift stores and then we have a bunch of bins, but I didn't know how sourcing for shoes at the bins was. Like for us, it's just chaotic, and you have people, like you said, who only know like athletic shoes. So they're in there literally just boom, 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 boom. This is what it looks like when people are at the shoe bin. Like they're not really looking at anything. They're just grabbing everything they can. I didn't know if that's how yours was, but you obviously have more thrift stores. So if the bins doesn't work out for you, you're perfectly fine to go to other stores.
The other day, though, when I was there kind of looking for, as y'all both know, for Brian at first, then I was like, wait, what's he doing now? So then I decided, well, I'll go look at shoes. And I've always looked over there, and I filmed it a year ago when I first went, and it was crazier than in Fort Worth, because in Dallas, the shoe bins are just shoes, whereas in Fort Worth, they're all mixed in with all the hard goods, and it's a huge room. And Brian and I, like, when we went together, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, we'd started different ends and work our way, you know, to cover everything twice, go over.
Picking all the shoes we found.
Yeah, and the shoes weren't together generally. In Dallas, a lot of them are actually together. So like one pair I got that, like, I don't know, these Adidas or whatever, and like they were just sitting there. I mean, so it's like, people go crazy, but I do think a lot of them are just, I don't know, we're all looking for different things, and I don't know what their strategy is, or maybe more people are looking for sneakers at the Dallas bins. I don't know. They just get in there. And I told Brian, I just like literally did this. I just didn't move when people were trying to reach and stuff. I just was like, I didn't care if I found anything. I just was like, I'm not going to move. You know, this is my area. Get out. Don't push me, you know.
Yeah, so the 2 bins we have access to are a little different. The Fort Worth is less crowded because it's so big, but as Clay said, there's probably, you know, half of this giant building is hard goods, and there's so many bins, and it's like a treasure hunt,
like
looking for the shoes.
50 bins.
And then of course, not everything you find is resellable. And the worst thing, sometimes you'll find one really, really good shoe and you can never find the other one. And that's a heartbreaker. But to the second part, there are a bazillion thrift stores in our area. Like I've actually routed out 3 different routes on different days, because there would be no way in one day I could cover all of the thrift stores. in addition, we also, even though it's been really poor lately, I think it's, the pandemic and or it's for Dallas area, it's been kind of cool recently. So we haven't had a lot of garage sales, but garage sales are pretty good down here for that as well. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. I would say, like, I'm always thinking next level, and I would like to have people sourcing for me, whether locally and or out of state. I would also like to get access maybe to pallets of shoes or wholesale, but all that's kind of down the road thinking. And Clay and I've talked a lot about some of these different ideas, but it's one thing to talk about it, but to actually execute it is a different thing.
And one last question related to your shoes.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all about storage, or do you think it'll sell fast enough? Because shoes are a lot bigger to store, obviously, than clothing.
Yeah, they are bigger. I have the garage and 3 storage units, so I think I'm good. I'm good on space. Plus, shoes have a faster sell-through rate, at least the ones that I tend to pick up overall. So I don't think it would be a problem. And my contingency plan is this: like this is my plan, but if it did not work out, I know how to sell clothing. It would not be hard for me to list jeans or a couple of subcategories of clothing if it wasn't working out. But I would prefer to do nothing but shoes, and I want to give that a shot first.
After he lists these clothes here, Val, that are in my car.
Of course, I told Clay he could just list those himself and make way more money.
But Val, I told him, to be honest, especially since I've been sick and haven't worked, I said, well, if I was working and had Ubered and made some money, maybe I would have kept half. But I said, since this was like last Tuesday before he switched his model, and then 17 hours later switched it fully, I said, sorry, I need the money, whatever. I said, you can go back down to that lower rate, or whatever. And he's like, he wrote back, and know him enough, he wrote back, that's fine, because I know that he's like, he doesn't want to see me.
I don't want them anymore. Like, all right, in my mind, even though I will change routes, once I change a route, at least for a while, I am all about whatever decision I've made. So I don't want to mess with any clothing. What I'll probably do is, like, on a Saturday, like Monday through Friday at shoes, and on Saturday would be because I'm not saying I would never list something miscellaneous. Like if I find some vintage Levi's 501 at a garage sale, for $1, I'm gonna pick those up. So those type of items I would probably sell on a Saturday where I can knock them out in a couple of hours, and that's what I'll do with the stuff Clay has. I'm sure. Okay. Because I looked at my numbers too, because we went over the quality listing report, or I made a video on it. I don't know if we talked about it on here, but eBay actually ranks you on sales on your different niches, and maybe next week we can go over that. And ways to improve your listings, which will lead to more sales. And currently on men's jeans, I'm ranked 89th, even though these will obviously fall off as I quit listing these. On women's jeans, I'm the 86th seller of jeans on eBay, even though, oh my God, the returns on women's jeans, it's so annoying. And on women's athletic shoes, I'm only 665. And as a comparison, they also tell you how many sellers there are. On women's athletic shoes, at the time today when I check this, there were 114,317 sellers of women's athletic shoes, and even with the small volume I've done on that, I'm already at 665. Which
you're already like a 1%er.
But what I want to be on shoes, I want to be top 10 in men's athletic, men's casual, women's athletic, maybe women's casual / comfort. Like niching down, like I want to be a top 10er, but we'll see. All right.
Yeah, we got Russians in here. All right. Hello, comrade robots. Bots.
You can add that to your title name. Craig said Craig says, I need to list tonight. I'm stuck decided on listing lots of comics or picturing about 15 pairs of jeans. Now, I know Craig sells in more categories, and we've had this discussion a lot. And, you know, some people prefer listing lots of categories. Like the rationale for some people is it's hard to walk by profit.
Mm-hmm.
And on the surface, I think that's absolutely true. But the value of niching down is you become an expert in that field. Your shipping, your storage all become streamlined, and you become faster in your listing and shipping versus if you do everything. You know, you just can't become a true expert in every single category. But I definitely understand that mentality. It's hard for me to get over that. What about you, Val? Like, you do clothing, you don't really do shoes, right?
Right.
So what's your thought process? Like, you've niched down to mostly women's clothing. What made you decide to do that category?
Well, not doing shoes, like I mentioned earlier, it's just crazy at our bins. My sister sells shoes on eBay. And so when I go and I'm like tired of looking in the clothing, I'll go over and I'll just start grabbing a bunch of stuff for her to go through. But for the most part, it's just too crazy in the shoes for me. And our two little thrift stores, we have a Goodwill and a New Horizon. And they're really overpriced here and they're not that great. So I don't really have, besides the bins. And even lately, last time I went to the Springs bins, my sister went and she only found one pair of shoes in like 3 hours, which is crazy. Like that's
yeah.
But clothing, it's easy for me, like, to remember brands and styles, mostly style. Like, there's a lot of stuff that people leave behind because they don't know what styles sell. And I'm not fashionable at all. Like, I'm sitting here wearing my grumpy t-shirt. So I don't dress like I know style, but like I really am interested in fashion. So I kind of know what to pick up, even if it's not the best brand. And it's easy to photograph.
Yeah, it's easy to photograph. It's easy to ship. You're not going to have to worry about a pair of jeans being broken during shipment. Mm-hmm. I think every category has its pros and its cons. Like Craig says, when he started in the 90s, he was doing laptop parts and he made a killing. Mm-hmm. That's another good model of picking a category and parting it out. Like I know Kevin, when he was in our group, the Thrifting Lounge, he well, I guess he still does, I don't know, vacuum cleaner parts. Like, you take a vacuum cleaner and you part it out.
Yeah, he's killing it, sounds like.
You could do that with bicycles. You could do that with anything where there's components, coffee makers, you name it. That is a good model to follow. Which brings up a really good point to all of this. Whatever you decide to niche down, if you decide to niche down, a lot of it's going to be dependent on what you have available. Like, if I was in your location, I probably couldn't niche down to just shoes, because there wouldn't be enough supply to meet my listing goals, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But where I'm at currently, there is now. Pricing at some thrift stores is getting kind of ridiculous, where I don't know, how long-term viable that will be if they keep raising prices. I think there's a couple things you can do is to, one, truly become an expert in that niche and learn, because most of these people, even pricing at thrift stores, they know, like they'll know the Nikes and Jordans and things of that nature, but they may not know that a Dansko clog can sell for $30 to $40. And so knowing the little sub niches of your niche gives you the advantage. And if I couldn't make a go of it with shoes, then, like I said earlier, I could always just move back to clothing, because I've already got that down well enough and kind of proven that it works. So And then like what you brought up, like your storage system, what space, like if I was in a efficiency apartment and I didn't have a garage, if I didn't have a storage unit, well, then I would probably need to sell something smaller, maybe trading cards or vacuum cleaner parts or, you know, small collectibles, things of that nature. Let's see. Craig says, Beth, reseller rowboat, currently does it with small appliances. Thinks she was moving off it though, and only going to do clothing. It's funny the influence that Tech and Chris have on the reselling market. Like ever since our group started over a year ago, now you're seeing a lot more people move into clothing, and a lot more people talking about scaling up. Matter of fact, I was watching. Who's like, oh, Cat. Yeah, Clay, you told me to go to Cat's
on Tuesday.
like,
yeah.
And they were talking about that. Like, they were talking about the movement to scaling up, which is directly from Chris and Tech's group. And some people don't want to do that. And here's the thing. You don't have to necessarily scale up. You got to pick what your goal is, what your vision is. Like, what do you want to achieve? Why do you want to achieve that? And then how much money is that? And it could be you have a small store. Maybe you list 10 a day, but you're picking out 10 items with a really good sell-through rate, with a good ASP, and you can achieve that goal without having to scale up to 100 listings a day. It's totally viable. All right, so let's segue into listing goals, since that's kind of what we're talking about.
Let's segue.
So,
Get it? Did you like that, Val?
One more time. All right, we're going to segue over to our listing goals.
Segue?
Oh, Lordy.
Let me park my Segway. Okay.
Do you want to start, Clay? Let's start with Clay. All right, Clay. What is your listing goal? I know Clay is doing the local game some where he's selling for cash locally, which, you know, that's a possible model. Do you? And I know you've been sick, Clay, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. Do you have a online eBay listing goal?
Yeah, I'd say, like I keep saying, forever, and I've done it at times, maybe just even 5 a day, 5 to 7. And it's probably going to be a bunch of drafts, you know, in the bank, so that, you know, I can send them out. Like, now that I'll probably go back to Uber in a little more while I figure out the sourcing at the bins for you, you know, to see like how many can I, you know, like what does it look like in a day? How many can I get? And that sort of thing. But yeah, if I did even 50 in a week or 40 even, and it's just good, like now, just men's Levi's, men's BKE, but I've only seen one pair and they're right here for you. But like that, the hard goods I have from that storage unit are mostly pretty good. The rest, you know, one of the many trips to the thrift to donate or the dumpster. So most of the stuff I have, yeah, is pretty good.
Okay.
And then,
All right, I'm gonna pause for a second, because I'm hearing a lot of hemming and hawing. And we're going to try to, since you joined the call, it's our duty to do this. Do you want to try to focus him a little bit, Val, and direct a question at him?
Well, I don't think my question would be very helpful as far as reselling. But have you ever considered just being a full-time sourcer, Clay? Then you don't have to worry about having a schedule of selling.
Well, no, because I know it's hard to not want to sell because I can find good stuff.
But if you're not going to list it, though, then it's not making you any money.
Well, I get what you're saying, but most everything I've ever sold, I've got for free or ridiculously cheap. And it weighs on me because I have it, but it doesn't weigh on me like, oh, I'm out a ton of money. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know, like Brian, I think I told you, Val knows what I waste money on at times. I'm like, that weighs on me. Some of my real struggles, but like $50 from the bins, that doesn't stress me out. It stresses me and it's not listed, but you know what I'm saying, money wise. But it's hard not to pick up when you know Wall's overalls at the bins for what? That's like $2, turns into 40 pretty darn quickly. Now, if I knew more people to source for, sure.
Yeah.
Especially if it was closed. And there is a guy, Cody, who I met, who's in the Chris's group with Brian and them. And he said he might start using me, but he's the only person that, because I don't know how else to get known necessarily as, hi, I'm a local DFW. If you want clothes, not men's jeans or not men's Levi's, but yeah.
Well,
I just don't know how to do that.
I would, because all right, this is what I'm hearing. And I hate to put you on the hot seat, but I'm going to a little bit here. We do this a lot. It's like there's a lot of rationalizing, and it's like you're playing both sides of the fence. I would just challenge you to pick a small number. Just start at one a day. I'm going to list one pair of jeans a day, every day, and just do it for a whole month. Because I think you got to build that habit. Like,
oh yeah,
with anything, that it has to be a habit, and then after that month, then maybe raise it to 2 a day, and just slowly until you hit the number you're comfortable at.
Yeah.
Because if you're listing consistently, those sales are going to come in.
Oh yeah, every time that I've done it, even if it's just a couple of weeks, then I'll have maybe just a sale a day. But I mean, God, for me, a sale a day, if it's even 12.
If you listed one a day, if you listed one good item a day, you would have a sell a day real quickly.
And that's what I've had in these spurts over these couple of years.
Yeah.
Where, especially as my stuff's gotten better, that I pick up.
So let me catch up on the chat, and then I want to hear what Val's thinking, especially thinking about what we were talking about, the algorithm. Like, you listed them all in 2 days. Like, what would that look like if you created drafts and then launched those over 6 or 7 days? Kevin says Saturdays when he goes to yard and garage sales in the flea market in Chico, California, and in 30 minutes, that's knick-knack. List them that day. Are you saying, Kevin, that knick-knacks are your niche? And I like that. Source them same day, list them same day. I think there's an urgency there. And I know what Tech and Sports says. Like, Tech and Sports was digging ditches and had crappy jobs, like worked at, I think, Walgreens or CVS. And he had to support his family, so he was hungry. So literally, whatever he listed that day, he would stay up until whatever he sourced that day, he would stay up and make sure they were listed that night. Now, I know for me personally, it takes up a lot of mental energy if I do a long day of sourcing, if it's more than 2 or 3 hours. So I think I want to build my days where I source 8, 10, 12-hour days, a couple days a week, and then build up a draft bank and have those. Like, I did that when I went sourcing Thursday. I had a draft bank built up, and I launched like 15 that morning before I headed out. Scott says it's all about money in the end. This is true, Scott. Craig says hire a lister, Clay. Of course, that's always easier said than done. But yes, if you could hire a quality lister, that is a solution. But I would not use Hammock. I would not use Sellhound. They will mess up your listings. I am still fixing them. Scott says, Clay, you can source for him if you want to ship it to him.
What do you sell, Scott?
Scott, he does clothing. He also does like pallets. Like, he was talking this morning, and I've known him for a while now. He also does like pallets of hard goods, I think, returns.
Okay.
So he does clothing.
He's got a big warehouse, right? Operation kind of thing.
Yeah, he's got a bit. He's
got
some big
business.
He can respond, but I know he's got a large space. And
he's
KH
somewhere, right?
Yeah. KH says we've been listing 20 items a day since early November and plan on increasing that number slightly over the next few months. I think that's the way to go. Just gradually increase it, because it takes a while for the traffic to catch up to your listing habit. And because if you go from 1 a day to 20 a day, well, your cost of goods, that expense, skyrockets, and you're not going to have the sales right away to be able to afford that. But if you gradually do it, then your sales will pick up and allow you to keep gradually like when I was doing clothing, I was following the increase 1 per week, like 20 per day this week, 21 per day the next week. And that seemed very feasible because especially if you niche down, if you stay in the same category, you become quicker at it, you become more efficient, and you'll finish earlier. So instead of just finishing earlier and calling a day, well, just list one more, and then you'll still finish about the same time. All right, Val, what do you think? What type of listing goal are you wanting to do? And I guess, like, what is your big picture? Like, maybe the why, if you want to go into it. What does that look like? And then what does that look like as a listing goal?
Well, start with my why.
If you don't mind, like, if you don't want to share,
because I want to make money.
I have a why now, or 2 whys, so I'll tell y'all after she answers.
Well, it was either in the first stream or the last stream we did, but I was talking about I used to do 15, and 15 was my sweet spot. So I was doing that pretty consistent for a few months. And then I'm an all or nothing person. I know I've mentioned this a few times. So I won't stop at 15. I will keep going until my rack is empty, because I figure, why not? It's right there and it's ready. But then I get completely burned out. And yeah, I just hate reselling in general when I push myself like that. But 15 is my sweet spot. And I feel like if I could just let myself be okay with 15, because in one day I can do the whole process of all my clothes are already washed, and I photograph them, measure them, put them into their bags, take them out to the shed, and they're put away, and I list everything. So the whole process is completed, 15 in one day, and I'm not sore, I'm not tired, I'm not burnt out at all. But then I stopped doing that. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because it's there, and so I want to get it all done instead of sticking to my number. But for Poshmark, that's my goal, is just to stick with that stupid 15 number so I don't get burned out. But with eBay, like you're saying, they like you to list consistently. So maybe I'm going to stop, because right now I am, when I list on Poshmark, I do one listing and then I have another screen open. I go and I list it onto eBay. So I don't miss anything. It's all getting listed at once. But apparently I need to start saving drafts or something.
That's what I would recommend, especially when you explain like how you do it, like all or nothing. I think it would be better if you just stuck with a 15 a day. But let's just say you listed a whole bunch in one day. What you would do, instead of the list button, there's a save as draft button, and eBay will save your drafts, I think up to 30 days. So what you would do, like, let's just say one day you went crazy and you listed you saved 100 drafts, right, on eBay. Instead of listing 100, you have 100 saved as drafts. And here, let me just show you. I think it's easier to. Let me share my screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It'll probably make more sense.
Now, on Posh, though, she could go on and still list a bunch, right?
Yeah, because
I
if
agree
they sold
about
on
eBay, save some.
Like, I've been on Posh now. This summer will be 5 years, and I know people talk about an algorithm, but I don't think they care if you list daily or if you bulk list in one day. I don't think Poshmark cares.
Yeah, so that's why I mean, list what you want on Posh, but then save up. Like,
but I could see myself doing my 15 a day for Posh, and then not getting burnt out enough to like do five of those listings onto eBay, and then
or that,
I don't know.
I'll
have to have you see my process too. Maybe I'm like, when I cross, it is cross listing. Why am I doing quotes? When I cross list, maybe I'm doing it like really slow or a stupid way, but like, I'm like, the other day when I was done listing, I was completely burnt out from sitting here listing on Poshmark and then going and doing it on eBay. Like, my brain, maybe it's just me, but like, I hit a wall. And like, even the most simple descriptive words, they don't come to me anymore because my brain is just so tired of listing. Well, so that's also a problem I've been having.
I think listing, we use the metaphor of running, right? Like, you're capable like let's just say you run a lot and you're capable of running a marathon like Clay used to. Well, if you ran a marathon every day, you're going to burn out. Your body's going to crash unless, you've trained for that. I know there's a few freak people that can do that, but for most of the people, you would die, right? But if you can run a marathon, but every day you're only running 3 to 5 miles, well, that's going to seem easy to you. So we can build endurances with listing too. But if we're pushing to our max capacity every day, it will lead to burnout. So you want to get to a point where you're not redlining it, where you're comfortable. And I think we're the 15 a day for you. Like you said, you've identified that as a sweet spot. Or if you go on one of those binges and you run a marathon one day, just don't list them all. Just save them as drafts. Like here's an example. So this is an item I have saved as a draft. I don't even know why. I think there's a problem with this or something, but it's the same thing. You fill out the title, the SKU, the pictures, the specifics, the description, you price it. You got your shipping, and we went through all that, I think, last week. And when you get down here, we're going to do international shipping. We're going to do through the global shipping program. We're also going to ship worldwide through eBay's international standard delivery. I'm going to charge a $3.99 fee if they do that. Put the weight in. Now, normally I would list this, but in all you have to do is save it as a draft, and it is ready to launch or to be reworked on. And on eBay, you can look under listings and under drafts, and it'll give you the items that are saved as drafts. So here are 2, but you could have had all 100 of these listed as drafts. And so the next day you would pick, let's just say your listing habit was 2 a day, but whatever it was, like you could select 15 of these, and you would just click on resume draft right here, where you could do them all at once, and they will allow you to bulk this out. And I would just click on submit all, and these would go live.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that right now, but that only takes a few seconds each day. So like for me, this is something I'm thinking about as I'm having to figure out. Oh, where's the thing? The sourcing. Where's the string?
I hear a lot of clicking, but
I don't know where the screen went.
You have too many tabs open?
Oh God, did I? Oh God. Hold on. I've got myself in here twice.
Yeah, the funhouse effect.
All right. All right, let me. Technical difficulties.
So while you're looking at whatever you're looking at.
Yeah, keep talking. I'm gonna try to fix
So you
this.
were kind of showing me the international shipping. What does that exactly mean? Like if somebody overseas ordered it, does that just mean I'm shipping it to like some warehouse?
Correct.
And they're gonna ship it from there?
Yes.
Right,
the
and
label
then why
will
did you charge $3.99? Is that because that's your distance-ish to that warehouse? Is that
that's a convenience fee for me to fill out the additional paperwork, even though there really isn't much.
okay.
So all right, so if you do GSP, it's going to cost them more because that goes to Kentucky. With global shipping program, they purchase, it's going to cost them more to get it shipped to them. And as a seller, once it gets to Kentucky and eBay has possession of it, eBay's responsible for getting it to them. So it's better for you as a seller from that end, but because it costs substantially more to ship it to the buyer, you're not going to get as many sales that way typically. So I do both. I let them have the option of GSP, Global Shipping Program, or they can select the eBay International Standard, where I have it calculated based on their address, and that one is typically cheaper. And because it's a lot cheaper than GSP, Yeah, I put that little $2.99 or $3.99 fee on it.
Oh,
And to be honest, they normally don't even realize it because they're still getting a much better deal. The reason I do it, because every once in a while, I think I've had this happen twice out of, I don't know, hundreds of orders. You'll have a problem with the item getting there, which is very, very rare. So if I'm making an extra $2 or $3 on every international standard order, that's going to cover those very rare items where I have to refund them for whatever reason. And that's my way of hedging it and still using it. So that's my logic behind it.
That makes sense, because that'd be like that Avon thing I sent Jay in the summer of 2020 never showed up. If he had bought it, like I would have had to send back. Can you show us on a draft or something the what you're talking about, the clicking both things, Brian? The
Just did you not see it when I just did that?
Did you? I was kind
I
of.
don't know if he was
I didn't
paying
know
attention.
that was what you were showing. I'll just go to one of my drafts real quick and see then.
Well, I can do it. Are you ready to watch?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I just always go. I think I did the in your main settings to change it to the global shipping. The Kentucky warehouse or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And packaging wise, there's nothing. You don't have to do anything special for it.
No, I mean, just keep in mind what it is. Like if it's going to England, maybe you want to make sure it's a sturdy poly bag. But I really don't, because I do. Well, now it's shoes, but clothing and shoes. I don't really have to make many adjustments, but you could maybe make sure it's a more sturdy poly bag. I don't know if you had cheaper ones.
Taped up a little more.
Yeah.
And on hard goods, I like really boxed some breakable thing.
It's speaking about hiring a lister and going through old listings. This is one I went through today, and we'll get down to the shipping. These are a pair of Old Navy, and you don't want to cap that like that. It affects Google search. Oh, this title's so bad. Old Navy, painter, jeans, boys. I don't know what size that was. 14. Boys 14. I don't know. Blue, denim, pockets, whatever else. Whatever. This was, I think Sellhound did this listing, or maybe it was one of my VAs, but they mixed up. They got the first picture correct through Photo Room, but then they put the wrong pictures. Like these are Rockin' Republic pictures. I'm like, what? No wonder
Revival?
No wonder these hadn't sold. So now I'm gonna have to go and rephotograph this item.
oh God.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to find it in my inventory, which I jotted this down. But anyway, gosh, yeah, if you have old listings, go through them, and there's probably a reason they haven't sold. But here's the part you were asking about, Clay. All right, so under shipping, you click on this box for the GSP.
Yeah.
And then I use calculated.
Okay.
I do flat rate shipping, like we talked about this, Val, for the domestic part. But for international, there's no way I would do. I don't know. I would not feel comfortable doing flat rate international.
Yeah.
So I do calculated on international, ships worldwide, eBay international standard delivery, and here's where you can add a handling fee if you want. I do, and that's all there is to it. Some people don't use this; they only do GSP.
I guess I changed it once we could. You know what I mean? Because when you got me into it, wasn't it mostly just that was the option that you just showed, kind of, and then the global thing became better or something, or available to all of us, maybe?
Well, global shipping has been around longer, so eBay International, Standard International came out later as a cheaper alternative. And I would say I get more that go through the eBay International Standard than the GSP.
I'll have to double check. Maybe I'm using that, but I'm thinking it's the other. I don't know. I'll check tonight though and see.
Because I would think whatever you told me at some point, I clicked on.
Yeah, Clay will follow my advice, but he doesn't get updates, and 3 years later, he's out of date.
I'm still, Val, you like my pink coat here? You like this?
I was wondering if that was yours or a lady's
yeah.
coat.
Oh,
Okay.
heck yeah, this is mine. This is gonna go in some video eventually, one of my weird videos, or just to wear around. I don't care that it's short and it's a women's coat. It's a pink, fuzzy vintage jacket. It's awesome. And I am wearing a nice sweater that will go to Brian here, because it was chilly.
Oh, it is now damaged. I can't. What's the brand?
I am cursing that warehouse more. Val, I don't know if the lighting in your bins is bad, but God, the more items I find, I don't know, I find more items like with one little thing that you can't see when you're in there. Because at ours, it's just like it's like a gym. They have the big fluorescent lights way up high.
I have to keep tab of the items that Clay delivers. Are seriously
I'm
flawed.
not bringing, there's about 4 I will say that I've noticed. So those I won't even bother bringing those tomorrow.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, for anyone, those stains sometimes don't show up until you're in the actual LED lighting, and then
and I'd say 95% of what I bring has been good stuff.
What are you clicking on again?
Is that your clicker or pen?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were.
Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, y'all could hear that. I didn't. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I don't care. I don't even notice.
See, if we were doing the Thursday podcast, Alton would be like,
"Oh, he'd be killing you. He'd be
because he has to edit all that out.
Gotta edit that out somehow."
Craig says his biggest challenge when listing is getting started. Once I get started, I can usually blow through. And all right, so what I would say to that, like we're doing Atomic Habits in the group that I lead the book club on, and I think the answer to all of those type of things is a consistent routine, a schedule built out of habits, where you don't have to. Like when I listen to Clay, and I'm not picking on Clay, this is just my observation. This is just my thoughts. When I listen to Clay trying to figure out his week, or when he's writing notes on his donut box, it stresses me out because it is obvious that he doesn't know, and he's spending a lot of mental juice trying to figure out what that is going to look like on a weekly basis, and then a daily basis, and then an hourly basis, where if you niche down in your day is like when I was doing clothes, it was my routine is the same every day. Clay's sourcing for me, he's bringing the items, so I didn't have to worry about that. If I wanted to go source, I could. But every day, I woke up, I drove to my storage unit, I pulled my orders based off the eBay app. They went in the bins. I came home, I made my coffee. As soon as I hit the brew button, that was my cue then to go do my morning stretches, because I don't want to blow up my back anymore. That was horrible when I did that last summer. So after I finish that, I go into the kitchen. My wife and daughter are usually getting ready for school, helping with dishes, helping get breakfast and whatnot, little chit chat, make sure my wife has her coffee, being the good husband. All that stuff is taking place. As they exit, I then bring my coffee in here. I turn on the morning call with Chris on Daily Refinement. We do the morning call. Scott's part of that, by the way. While that is happening, I fire up I fire up eBay, and then I have a set.
He's a computer that's jet fuel. That's why he says that, Val.
Yes, I fire up the.
It's literally like
computer, and then on eBay I do the same things every day. I send out a new coupon for that day, where people can get currently a 10% off buy it now price. I send out any invoices for unpaid orders. I check my canceled orders. I make sure I don't have any canceled orders that are not listed, because that happens sometimes. I then go to my listing site. I send out offers to eligible buyers. I then add the promoted listings to the items that are 30 days old or older. I then get any returns that came in. I take care of those returns. Then at this point, the call has usually started. I then study the solds. It used to be for clothing, now it's for shoes, men's shoes. I look at the 200 items, that shoes that sold for $30 or more in the used condition. I'm mentally taking notes of those items if I'm unfamiliar with them. I then do the women's. Now, all this doesn't take a long time. All this is like maybe a 30 or 45-minute process. I then do the women's. I then end my 10 oldest listings, and then I rework them. I relist them. I check, like what I was showing you about that Old Navy. I make sure I try to figure out what's the problem. Why hasn't this sold? It's either the title is poor, the pictures there's a problem with, the item specifics are wrong, or, and it could be a combination of all these, the pricing is wrong. And then I do 10 of those. At this point, it's usually about 8:30. All this only took about an hour, everything I just went through. I then began to ship the orders that sold the night before, and I ship those until my shipping is done because the mail carrier is picking up. It varies depending on the number of orders. It's usually by 10 a.m. I am done. On a Monday, that may take me up till lunchtime if I have a whole lot of orders. Eat lunch. I then go into listing for the day. Now, with shoes, it's a little different. I'm having to figure out a couple things. Like I now have to spend time cleaning shoes, which I didn't have to do with clothing before. I also have to figure out what days I'm going to source. But I know I just talked a lot. But to get back to the point about what Craig was saying, I don't have to think about when I'm going to list because it's a habit. And habits allow you to work without burning mental energy. And I think that's another good reason to niche down, because if I had a pile of comic books and I had a pile of VCRs and I had a pile of vintage women's robes that Clay loves, and I had a pile of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that would overwhelm me. Just even deciding what I'm going to list is tiring. Like that. Like, I don't want to list the clothes that Clay's going to bring. I'm going to do it, but I don't want to. I just want to list the shoes.
Yeah.
So if you can niche down, develop a goal, a number of listings to do per day, and figure out your schedule. And everybody's schedules are going to be a little different depending on what you got going on. But to develop a routine where you don't have to write things on a donut box, or you don't have to think about, well, am I going to do this or what am I going to do? And I'm not picking on Clay, I'm just as an example. Then your life becomes easy. And so reselling for me was so easy. Like, I was finishing earlier, and at the end of the day, I still had brain power left, where it used to be when I was an everything seller, my brain was fried. Like, I was so tired. And now I have energy for in the evening when the family's home. Sorry, that was a long diatribe. I get passionate about these things. Like, I've learned a lot from taking them, and I think this stuff is so valuable. And I don't know. Yeah, it is. Starting and stopping is hard. Like, and Gary Keller's the one thing he talks about this. Like, he's actually measured it. Like, you lose about a third of your day stopping and starting, because you can't really just stop and start and go right back to what you're doing. And if we get distracted by emails, by phones, by people calling, by all these different distractions, if we don't structure up our days and our schedules, we waste so much time. And then we get to the end of the day and we haven't done jack squat, right? And we haven't hit our goals, which just creates its own stress. I don't know. I feel like I'm preaching. Feel free to chime in. What size Ziplocs do you do for jeans? Like the Ziplocs that I store them in, I have two. I have a 10 by 13. This actually is a 12 by 15. Some of when I was doing just jeans and clothing, I used the 10 by 13. They fit perfectly. I have both a 10 by 13 and I have a 12 by 15 for some of the bigger shoes that won't fit in a 10 by 13 easily. And those work really well. We got all of our Russian robots, Clay.
I know.
Hey,
I've been trying to block them all.
that shows you're building some if you've, you got the bots in there.
Oh, yeah, let me block. Oh yeah, I
You
didn't
got
realize.
50 exciting pieces of clothing coming your way tomorrow morning, buddy.
How many shoes? How many shoes?
I'll give you a few of those pairs of shoes.
All right. See, and because I don't want to list clothing anymore, but I will.
I told him I'd give him shoes, Val. A couple of shoes.
And I will do that on a Saturday. Like what's tomorrow? Like, well, if he brings them tomorrow, I'll do them tomorrow. If not, I'll do them next Saturday. But I don't want to interrupt the shoe rhythm that I'm just beginning to build. Scott says you need to build a bank of clothes, then switch your brain to something else for days, then go back. Or Scott, are you talking because Scott was talking on the morning call about this. Scott's a little different than most people in our group. Whereas he does clothing and hard goods. And so he has a system to do that. All right, Scott, or anyone else that does multiple things, do you dedicate a whole day to clothing or a whole day to hard goods? Or how do y'all break it up if you're listing multiple categories?
For me, in the last, let's say, few months, all I've done are clothes or a few shoes. Like, because I didn't have a ton of hard goods until Hillsboro. I mean, I had
so you got excited about that storage unit.
Yeah, when Brian and I are going all in on storage units, then he was like, "Why don't you take the hard goods and I'll take the clothes?" That's obviously not
good to me.
But so now I've got the hard goods.
There's good money in those hard goods too. Now he's saying that, but he's got
there is. So I'll just, of course, part of me is like, oh, I'll just start with whatever. But whatever day I do, whenever I start, I'm not going to be like, yeah.
Oh, you haven't started yet?
No, because I just kept bringing it home, and and then it overwhelmed me. Then it was still working for you, and as long as I was making money to pay the bills and a little more, but I'm not gonna
Clay needs to go to reselling boot camp.
I'm not gonna list some clothes and then hard goods. I'll choose whatever day it is, or 1 week. It might be.
Is that why you're sorting them right now?
Well, this is for you. This is so that I can bring this.
I know that, but like the other stuff that yours.
Oh yeah, that's why tomorrow. Well, I don't know. I'll do some tonight and this weekend.
Commit.
Yes,
Clay has commitment problems. We're gonna evaluate.
I want to organize this
We're gonna evaluate it.
because I'm gonna add. Hey, Kat, there you are. I'm gonna add some racks. I think on the ceiling or the walls or something because I just want to. I don't know. Have it a little different, but yeah, I want to have different areas for the hard goods to list, the clothes,
like different setups,
and then local, and then the stuff like
you got to have. Yeah, how are you going to photograph different things too? That's the other thing when you're listing different categories. You got to have different listing stations.
Yeah, like I don't do shoes and bags. Like those will be on one day, and clothing will be a different day because I have to set up. I have a table that folds down, but it's really heavy and in the way, so I can't photograph clothing. And it's just easier that way. My light box is really heavy and hard to set up. So if I'm doing shoes, like I'm going all out doing shoes, hats, and bags in one day.
That makes sense. Yeah, I still have hats to list too from the storage unit.
Do you have several setups?
Still.
Well, I had 2 setups, and I kind of went crazy the other day because I know I don't want to switch back to clothes too quickly. And my old walk-in light box was having a few mechanical issues. So I took it down. I kept the lights. I trashed the walk-in light box. So currently I only have a shoe photography area. I know with clothing, I can just take a gray carpet and list outside, or there's different ways I can list clothing, but I'm trying to prevent myself from. I'm trying to make myself niche down just to shoes, so so I'm not tempted. So we're looking at kitties.
Yeah, socks.
Is that the cat you feed?
That's one of the 2. This is the little girl who. Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who I was worried about more.
Scott says he has 4 setups.
Craig, I don't know if this is a gallon bag. I know it's a 12 by 15. It looks roughly the size of a gallon bag. I know the 10 by 13 is probably a little bit less. So I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay.
So Scott, you have, let's see. James says you need to dedicate a whole day to the same thing. Helps with repetition. I agree 100%. K8 says it definitely helps to batch similar items together and move through them together. Keeps you more focused for sure. Yeah, batching definitely helps. Even if you're listing the same thing, like you may want to list them, depending on your listing goal.
Okay.
You may want to do them all at once. Like I think if it's like I got to where I would batch 50 photographs of clothing together, then I would list 50 at a time. But that was kind of the max because standing up to photograph 50,
that was a lot.
I was kind of ready to sit down at that point. The good thing with shoes is I can photograph sitting down. So
yeah, Val, he's gonna. So here's the setup that we've determined. He's gonna get one of those like chairs, you know, like for handy-capable people. Now he only has like a 2-inch step up from the garage into the house, but the goal is to have that like on a sit track in the garage, so he can just roll all the way into the kitchen, into the living room and the bedroom, and he doesn't have to get up like all day, basically. I told him that the other day, and he was like,
let's see, hold on. Right now I have, well, yeah, that's not a lot of steps. I only have 2,933. So I guess that actually is a good point. So I think if my steps is going to be way less, I probably need to start walking in the evenings. Like my personal fitness is kind of suffering. So yeah, I need to consider that. At least walking, maybe start running again. I don't know, but at least walk.
If you're going to be doing your own sourcing, that's a lot of exercise right there.
Yeah.
Just wear some ankle weights.
I actually have a weighted vest I bought at a garage sale. It's like 50 pounds. Like that thing is heavy.
When I'm at the Val, I would say Val, when I'm at the bins, sometimes I'll like walk in place, or while I'm looking stuff up, I'll do this and I'll like go back and forth, just some to stretch and to move around. Because, you know, if you're at the bins, sure, you shuffle along, but then you go to your cart and I can stand by the cart for like 2 hours or 3 going through stuff, you know.
Scott says he has 4 setups.
What are your?
Yeah,
I feel like
Scott, we need to have you on a live too. I want to bring in like maybe a guest a week. We need to figure that out. Maybe we have Scott on one week. I definitely want Craig on and I don't know, but what are the different 4 setups? So
hard goods,
for hard goods, but like, do you have a big hard goods, small hard goods, clothing? Like, what are the 4 areas? Mannequin. I have a mannequin when I used to do suits, and mannequin hasn't got much action lately. Poor thing. Olive oil.
Oh, it's like, who's calling me weirdo?
Olive oil.
It's just Carol.
You're awesome, weirdo. Just not jumping in. What does that mean? Not jumping in what?
Oh, I'm just listening. Pikes, I'm not talking much. I'm just listening.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking too much. All right, add in your...
No, you're fine.
So Val has 2 setups, all right? That's what you said. So you have your clothing.
I have my photo wall. I hang things up, but mine's adjustable. It's nice. I still need to do an office tour, but like I have one rack where I can hang things that are easy to reach for me, shirts and jeans. But I stopped picking up like maxi dresses and stuff because I couldn't photograph them easy, and it was just a pain in the butt. So I have another rack where I can photograph long dresses, those like jumper suits that automotive people wear.
Yeah.
And then I have a table that folds down, and I have my shoebox that I set up. But I wish I had somewhere I could put it and just keep it up all the time.
Yeah, I think having dedicated listing areas is a game changer.
Hashtag Grinder game changer.
I knew Clay was going to comment on that. We had a principal that was her theme one year, was game changer.
Well, many years. Game changer. Because our school was Grinder. We loved the principal. It just got old hearing. Hashtag Grinder game changer.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing this for how many years? I've been changing the game. And now everyone says that saying, and I hate it so much.
But the funny thing is, like Tech's philosophy is he doesn't change much. Like you figure out the game, and then you don't change it unless you really can improve it. So, you don't necessarily want to change the game. All right. Do we want to look at our best sell of the week, or do you have questions? What do you want to do next, Val?
Yeah, we can do the sales of the weeks. We're at an hour 15 right now, and I know. Oh no, never mind. You said you're not doing a stream tonight, right?
No, we're
But you got family time and stuff.
Yeah, I got family time.
We can do our sales real quick. 'Cause I think it's just me and you. Because I don't. Can you share your screen from a phone?
Me? I could just show you. Hold it up to the camera.
Okay.
Like in the old days.
I have. You can go first if you want.
You want to show? All right, Clay, you go first.
Let's see.
Here, let me put his screen on solo.
What did I sell this week or last weekend? Here, hold on. Okay. Oh, no, go back one screen. Dang it. No.
Hold on, let me guess. But while he's doing this, a pair of women's jeans.
You're partially correct. Men's jeans. Men's George.
Let me take this off. Hold on.
George Strait cowboy cut.
All right,
Sold
let's
them.
analyze this title.
Is that what they're called, or is that what you call them?
Yeah. Wrangler.
No,
Yeah.
George Strait.
Yeah. Yeah. In the in the there you go. Yeah. See, cowboy cut collection.
Because all my exes live in
My dad
Texas.
likes to make that joke since it's true. Both of them.
Hardy, har, har, har.
Yeah, Wrangler, George Strait, cowboy cut jeans. Yeah, I screwed up because I should have said Wrangler.
And that was a Ben's
Yes.
pickup.
Yeah, Ben's pickup. So 18 plus $10.99 shipping, and I put it in a padded flat rate because it was so big. I didn't feel good.
Could have done a flat rate and not a padded flat
I just
rate.
didn't. Well, that was on over the weekend when I had to pack it, and I just felt so crappy. I literally was like, I'm not fighting a stupid cardboard envelope for an extra dollar.
When your germs on the jeans.
When I'm making $2-something off of almost $3 off of shipping anyway, I'm okay with that. So that shipping. And then I sold a pair of Levi's, from Matt, for $11.50, and then a Little Women book that I got at a garage sale for $2, sold for $12. Had it for like a year or some odd, so
nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's I sell a lot of Wrangler's jeans. Like you can make a whole business off of Wrangler's jeans, especially the leather tab. Like the 13 MWZs do great for me.
Yeah, I've started.
They're not giant ASP, but 15 to 20 plus shipping. And a lot of people pass those by when they're sourcing. You could pick those up at garage sales for a couple bucks or less. You can pick them up at the bins usually as people walk by them.
Hey, boatman.
Yeah, the flat rate envelope would save you a little bit of money, but he was sick.
We'll
give him a pass.
Yeah, I just didn't want to have to fight taping that damn thing, and yeah.
Sorry.
All right, you ready to go, Val?
Yes.
Oh, let me add it to the stream.
I'm gonna pull a Clay here and share a bunch of them too.
Hey, that's good. I like it.
So this one was Poshmark. It was just an Under Armour. Gosh, I'm sorry. My cat is like right in my screen.
Oh, it's fine. I just got your screen.
Oh, okay.
Full screen.
Okay. So Under Armour sold for $45. It was new with tags. I picked it up at a garage sale for $1.
Nice.
Yeah,
$1 into
so
45.
I was surprised it sold for this much, honestly. But
wow. Wait, that was a Poshmark sale?
Yeah, that was Poshmark. And then I have two I wanted to share from my eBay.
Excuse me.
Because I'm very proud anytime I make a sale on eBay. This one was an Eileen Fisher t-shirt dress. I picked this up when I picked up those, how many was it, 150, 200 pounds? I don't know. I have a buttload of Eileen Fisher that I picked up at the bins.
And this t-shirt dress.
Yeah, this one sold.
Educate us on a t-shirt dress. Like, I don't do dresses, obviously, because they intimidate me, but like,
it's like t-shirt material.
Oh, so it's almost like if you chopped it off midway, you would have a
you just
long
have a
sleeve
shirt.
polo, right?
Yeah,
I have like something like that for sale. Yeah, it's like a Christmas deal.
I think I had it listed at 55, and I accepted an offer of 45, and the buyer paid shipping.
Now, on the shipping, because we talked about this, I think last week, that's calculated shipping, right? Or did you select flat
No,
rate
I just
$7.40?
Yeah, this one I put into a flat rate mailer because the bubbly one, I don't know if you find much Eileen Fisher, but if it's not her linen stuff, it's like really heavy.
Yeah.
So
I've sold a little bit from the bins. Like I know, yeah, Eileen Fisher's good.
And then that was my most expensive one this week on eBay. This one sold. These are some black Converse. I learned something new. It's called triple black when it's the black canvas, black logo with black laces. That's the triple black.
Triple D? Oh, Scott, I'm sorry.
I think I had them listed at 50 and I accepted an offer of 40.
Did they come with a box?
Yeah, they came with the box. I picked these up at a garage sale for $5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Garage sales are great.
They sold in like 30 minutes of listing them too. So that was nice.
How did you ship that?
Well, I went by weight. Okay, so
did you ship the original box?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I have like every single size of poly mailer. So I just picked the one that fit it and I like folded it up and taped it so it was like as small as I could make it as well.
Oh, okay. So you did the I was just thinking, so you did the box.
I was like, crap.
You did the box and the poly mailer, and so you got the cubic shipping. That's great.
Okay. Yeah. And the box was actually relatively skinny. I don't think I have any pictures of the box, but like they like squish these shoes up inside of it, so they're like really. So it was like I don't know, 14 by 5 by 5 or something like that. But
nice. Yeah, you can do the 14 by 19. I think is the largest poly bag that you can ship in for cubic.
Okay, that's good to know because my poly bags are huge. Like I have some that are big enough they could probably fit comforters in them.
Nice sell.
Yeah, those are cool. I like that.
So do you think, obviously, and I was asking like Nina, we have a shoe call in our group and text group, and it's on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. and like I'm attending those calls, and where was I going with this? I just totally lost my train of thought. Nina, there's a girl in it because I like her model of what she's doing. Like there's different models within every category. So she's being a little bit more selective and she's picking up shoes where she can make like $25 to $30 profit after everything. And all right, and I remember the question because it relates to you. And so I'm like seeing different models of shoes within the group, and Isaiah does a more of a value model where he's listing 30 a day. He's selling a lot, but his average profit isn't as much. And there's another guy, Alfredo, where his is kind of in between theirs. And so I'm really interested in Nina's kind of model. And within our group, like a lot of people are selling on Poshmark and eBay, but a lot of people now are just migrating over to eBay, and she's in the transition. Like she's not taking down her old Poshmark, but all the new listings are just going on eBay. So the question I asked her is like, what is your percentage of sales on eBay versus Poshmark? And I think like it's like 60-40 eBay. I'm rambling here. So do you have obviously way more items listed on Poshmark than you have eBay, right? You're just now beginning to do the eBay.
Right.
Do you have a fill in the short time sample of what that's looking like as far as sales? I know you don't have as many listed. You have more listed on Poshmark, but in the short period of time, do you have an idea? How does that fill the sales velocity between the two, I guess is my question.
Well, I don't know if I have an accurate reading since I'm not feeding eBay's algorithm. Like I've just been mass listing on my 1 day or 2 days.
Yeah.
But so far, like I think every time I do list, something sells like pretty fast. Poshmark, I mean, I think when I do my 15 a day, I have obviously consistent sales. But I definitely can see eBay being the better choice, which is hard for me to say. I'm just such a Poshmark person.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see eBay overtaking my Poshmark really quickly.
Well,
which is a good thing, but I mean,
Yeah.
me as a I'm just so gung ho for Poshmark.
I know. A lot of Poshmark sellers feel that way. And I think Poshmark for the size of the platform does a good job. Like Alfredo, he sells nothing but shoes on Poshmark. He's not even on eBay right now. He wants to get on eBay, but within the shoe niche, like when I was doing clothing, it was all clothing on eBay only. To me, that's a no brainer. Even though, because here's the thing, like Poshmark, it's a smaller audience.
Mm-hmm.
You are kind of limited. Like the key to Poshmark is, as you know, is the number of shares per day. So they kind of limit you. So if you have a giant Poshmark closet, let's say you have 5,000 items in your closet, right? You could only max share each item twice per day. If somebody had a very small Poshmark closet of 100 items, well, they could share those 100 times a day. And every time you share it on Poshmark, you show up higher in the search result, the default search results. So if you're going to scale, you have a bigger audience on eBay, and you're not limited by those shares. But I will say with shoes, it's a little different because shoes do pretty well on Poshmark in my experience. I think for me right now, since I'm moving over just to shoes, and I know that's going to be like a major blow to the algorithm, perhaps. I'm kind of scared of that. I don't want my sales to tank. I think I am currently listing shoes on both platforms, and if they double sell, eBay always gets priority. Now, once I get to the point, and I'm going to evaluate the sales, but I do plan on eventually just doing eBay only for shoes. Once I get a big shoe store of, maybe a couple thousand shoes. I'm just rambling, but for right now, I don't know. Like I need, because I rely on this money for the household. So like for that reason, and to keep the sell-through rate fast, I'm going to do both, because I've had some really big sales, and I guess I'll get to my sell of the day next. On Poshmark for shoes, sometimes they sell for quite a bit more than I would even get on eBay. So shoes is a little different, but.
And Val, here's a question. Brian made me think of it. I would think that you are much better at evaluating than either he or I are. Thanks. Y'all like my fur here? You like this here?
Oh, Lordy.
You like that? I feel like an NBA player in the 1980s.
Right, except you ain't got that game. I played basketball. You ain't got that hoop game.
If we went out and played right now, how bad would it be if we went and played? Would our shooting percentage combined be 20%?
I could still shoot. No, if we were playing half court, I could still hoop. I got a big body.
Me and him running up a half a court even.
James says eBay gets way more traffic. I agree. Scott hopes you get better. James, in my opinion, the only way selling on other platforms makes sense is to list items only on one platform. I generally agree with that. Obviously, I laid out a very nuanced reason why I am cross-listing. I was not cross-listing clothing, but for shoes, for that sales velocity, and shoes do well on eBay, on Poshmark, I'm gonna do both for a short period of time. Yeah, Val?
So are you on Facebook Marketplace still? I haven't heard you talk about that in a while.
Yes and no. I did test out shoes like last fall, and used shoes just did not do as well for me, so it wasn't worth the time. I do sell some I do have a small replenishable part of my business I don't really talk about. I sell like that stuff. It's mostly
Mhm.
like fashion jewelry.
Mhm.
I sell that on Poshmark. I do sell that on Facebook Marketplace because I create a listing multi-quantity and I ship it out, and that's easy to manage. So I do that on those platforms, and that doesn't take up a lot of my time. But as far as clothing and shoes, I do not, because I don't think the bang for the buck is there. I do think that Facebook Marketplace is on the rise, and there may be a time when that may need to be reevaluated. But as of right now, um, I'm not using it for clothing or shoes.
Okay.
Let me catch up on this, and I'll share my sell a day of the week. It was a pretty good sell too. Olive Oil says this has been a low ball offer kind of day. Get excited when my chicken notification squawks. Hoping it's a sell. Nope. Yeah, always counter those because it's good for your item in the algorithm. James gives an example. Something is not allowed on eBay, so you list it elsewhere. Other platforms would yield more money. Yeah, I agree with that, James. Like, now here's a caveat, Val, and this is a good point James brings up. Like, Tech and Sports talks a lot about protecting your eBay account because it is worth potentially millions of dollars. Like, I think he did 2.5 million selling used clothes on eBay last year, gross. Certain items that have a tendency to get zeros, you would not like for example, I picked up some Hard Rock hoodies at a garage sale. Those have a tendency to get zeros on eBay, so I didn't list them on eBay. They're listed on Poshmark. So if you come across items that or could be dangerous for your eBay account, then that would make sense to list those on a different platform where it wouldn't be. Number one, like, Poshmark is not. I don't think I've ever got a zero on Poshmark, to be honest. They don't police it as heavily as eBay does. So yeah, I agree with that, James. That's a really good point. All right, well, let me share my sell of the. Let me pull it up before I do the screen. I had it. Let's see. So the last 7 days on eBay, I did 31.61 on sales, gross, and had a couple of good sell days. And here, I gotta sort this. I'm sorry, I had this all pulled up, then I closed the screen. So hold on one second, guys. So what are you thinking, Val, as you're on different platforms while I'm trying to pull this? What are your thoughts, thinking about pros and cons of selling on different platforms?
I'm still a fan. I don't know. It's going to take quite a bit for me to not be a fan of Poshmark. Like last week, I forgot to mention it last week in our stream. I had my first return on eBay, which whatever, is not going to make or break me. But like, it just kind of sucks because I knew if I would have made that sale on Poshmark, their reasoning for returning it. Can you still hear me? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Their reasoning for returning it was just, oh, my husband bought one, so I didn't need this one, which is fine. She was like really, really polite about it. But like on Poshmark, that wouldn't have been a reason. They would have been like, oh, that's too bad. So
I agree that it is hard getting by that. Like, I'm aware of that too. Like some of the returns for doesn't fit or didn't like an item or whatever the reason is. It's hard when you start on Poshmark and basically that they couldn't return that and you have to take that return. But when you realize that the percentage of returns is still small and that you can just relist that item, if you don't take returns personally, and you can actually, I'll relist an item. I'll usually relist it for a little bit higher, and it typically sells for more money. But yeah, I get what you're saying because you are aware that wouldn't be returned the other place. All right, this with shipping sold for $302. This was a $15 pickup at a garage sale. This lady had autographed jerseys that she was selling. Like, this is an Archie Manning. She had one from Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. and this was autographed with a certificate of authenticity. So I paid $15 and it sold for $302, which was a beautiful flip. Now, jerseys are kind of dangerous. Listing on eBay, you got to be careful, make sure they're legit. This might have been one I probably should have listed on Poshmark. It did have a COA, but it wasn't like one of the bigger companies that does COAs. So, you know, but anyway, it sold for $302, and that was my best sell of the week. And I love garage. It's funny, like you were talking about some of your big items were from garage sales. That item was from a garage sale from a couple months ago. Garage sales are beautiful, what you can find. Clay, did you get your jacket at a garage sale, or was that from the storage unit? Or the bins?
This is the bins.
Is it real?
Let's see.
What's the material?
Polyester.
Regina Glenara by Glenoit, fur clean only. So I guess real fur, maybe, because it's old school looking. You know.
Is that for your local lady?
That or keep to go in a Larry video or something.
Yeah, we're trying to get Clay to do some entertainment videos.
I just got
all right.
Bank.
So those are our sales of the week. Do you have any questions that you wanted to talk about, Val?
I had a few, but I will just go with one.
Okay.
So I know this should be an easy, a relatively fast answer. Words not to use in your description or title. Like I've only know what I've seen in other people's YouTube videos, like Velcro, you're not allowed to use. Right. Question mark.
Yeah. So you're talking about like Vero strikes. It sounds kind of.
Because like I vaguely remembered somebody saying that in a video once. So I didn't use it. Like I listed a few baseball caps that had Velcro adjustable straps. Yeah. Which I didn't put what kind of strap it was. I just put adjustable because I didn't know what to call Velcro. Yeah, there are some brands that will Vero your account for using these trademark terms. Velcro somewhere, Bluetooth, onesie, Band-Aids, Lurex. Those are the ones I could think of off the top of my head. So you'll want to use, like, instead of Velcro, like you'll use generic terms to describe that. Like instead of a Band-Aid, could use a bandage. A onesie, I don't know what you would. Clay, you use this for an item you sold. Instead of using the word onesie, one-piece pajamas would be keywords you could use. Don't use those. And well, when you think about it, like you're doing clothing, so really, other than onesie, like none of those are really. Maybe Velcro for the material would really, or onesie would really apply. Those are the ones that I could think of. I don't know if anybody in the chat has others. Vero sensitive words. Kevin says, I'm building a dedicated photo shot area in my dad's old shop. When I'm done, I will show you a photo of it and try my new shipping area, my stockpile area, bring what I need. Yeah, please share that. I always like to see people's setups. Clay, Scott saying your pet commentary. He's like Clay's our entertainment.
Sorry, I'm trying
but don't encourage him too much or he'll take over with his nonsense. Velcro is bad. Olive Oil says, looking forward to yard sale season. Goodwill is losing their mind. I do agree. Like I saw that even with some shoes, like some of the prices they were marking up above like their standard. Everything's a set price. Some of them they're marking up. Which I told Clay, like I think I would be curious to see what their sales look like. It would seem to me like I've seen this when I go to the bins. I'll see items that they price too high that never sold, that end up at the bins where they're getting cents on the pound, where if they would just price it reasonably, it would have sold at the store. So I wonder I wonder if this is going to backfire on them over time.
As Craig and Kevin said in that video 2 weeks ago that you and I watched last night, churn and burn more. Because especially like Val, our warehouse here, the location of our bins is the main warehouse for at least Dallas. I don't know about Fort Worth if it's all of it, but the amount of stuff here. Let me see if I can show you all this picture real quick here. Can you see that, Val?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the hard goods room. And look at that. That's just part of it. And then it goes, hold on, I got another one, I think. And then look how far down it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just filled with nothing but clothes. And Maria, who runs it, I've gotten to know her, and she said that at one point, or when I started going a year ago, I remember I told Brian the Dallas bins blew me away at first because the amount of clothes would be like literally a couple feet thick, and it's trying to find stuff. Whereas in Fort Worth, they had more bins, and so it was like filled halfway. So then I didn't really pay attention over time that Dallas had lowered the level. And then all of a sudden recently they raised it. And Maria said she told her bosses, like, I'm not going to not put stuff in there. This is it for that stuff. They're like,
can you ask her, Clay? Because like what Scott's saying, they're cherry picking. He thinks it's going to hurt them in the long run. I do too. Like, can you ask them, like, how does that affect their store sales when they keep raising the prices? Because I mean, it's just simple supply and demand. You keep raising the price, you're going to sell less. So can you ask her, like, what is their long-term pricing strategy? And do they think that's really going to be effective? Because from resellers' perspectives, they're losing more and more. And we know resellers are probably the majority of their business in these stores. So I wonder how that's going to affect them long term.
Because also, Val, at that location, there's a Goodwill store that Brian and I used to go to sometimes together after school. We'd go hit it, you know. So there's the warehouse, a normal store that most people don't know that the bins is around the corner. I think I told you, I didn't know when the guys in Fort Worth are like, why aren't you going to the one in Dallas? I'm like, it's a normal store. And they're like, no, it's not.
That one that you're at, Clay, the store that's next to the bins, they've raised the prices of their shoes. It's $8.99 now. And if it's an athletic shoe, it's $9.99. And most of their shoes are not worth that. They're not worth that. So
$6.99?
It used to be $6.99, which
I haven't bought shoes there in a long time.
So you got to really know your shoes. And that one is priced above most of the Goodwills. Like, I think other Goodwills in the Dallas area are $6.99. And in the Fort Worth region, they're $7.99. But Fort Worth also has like a loyalty program. But yeah, I don't see. No, they don't limit it down here, but they're kind of limiting it by the price. Like where in that store when it was $6.99, I probably would have filled up a cart of shoes. I left with 4 or 5 that I cherry picked that would sell for, probably $40 or more, because I can't pay $10 for a pair of shoes. Wouldn't make sense to sell them for $20. You'd probably break even. So it's kind of insane. Yeah, they're going to end up with a death mountain. I agree, Scott, and maybe they'll change back. They've kind of lost their minds. But there's other places to source. All right, guys. Clay's toys.
This guy's from the storage unit. He's worth about $70, and he'll sell real quick, like in a day or less. So,
by the way, guys, if y'all haven't smashed the like button,
or just tap it lightly, whichever you choose.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever you choose.
If you want to smash your computer, that's fine. I like this from the storage unit. It's like a big old.
Oh God, Clay's house is gonna look like a hoarder's house. That needs to be your video.
The inside, there's still nothing in the house.
You're gonna start bringing in those weird knickknacks.
I've got like 1,600 square feet of nothing. I sit in the living room and sleep on the bed, and that's about it. And I'm okay with it,
James says caress the like button. Oh my god, yes.
Caress. I like that.
Don't like it too much.
It puts the lotion on its whatever it is, you know.
Oh, creepy. Anyways, we're deteriorating here at the end. An hour and 45.
I'm just getting started. I'm gonna go hit the town.
Oh god.
Get my pimp hat.
Yes, Clay's gonna hit the town. I have a function to attend with the family.
Here's one of your pairs of shoes that I'm gonna give you.
Echo. Okay.
Echo.
Yeah, Echo loafer.
That's like a $35.
Yeah, slow mover, but a 20 to 30 maybe. Anyway, catch us next Friday. Also, we have a podcast, the Reseller Roundtable. You can find us on Spotify and other places you find podcasts, where we do a Thursday night live. Normally, we didn't do it this week, 7 p.m. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to that, the Reseller Roundtable, with Addicted to Hustle, Alton, Dumpster Diver Dad, Scott. Neither one is in chat today. And I'm going to talk to Craig about maybe coming on, and Scott, maybe we can have bring a guest each week, and who knows, we can maybe add one more permanent member. I think 4 works pretty well on these type of lives, but I'm just rambling at this point.
I hate when
I'm scared to ask this, but Clay, any final words from you?
No, I'm tired.
All right, Clay's tired.
No, I've had fun. You know, because I got some work done. In a sense, I made some money, you know, so.
Good deal. Val, any final words? Oh, I didn't. This was one thing I did want to find out. Like, what is your weekly listing goal?
Me?
Yeah, one. We know Clay don't have one. Yeah, for you.
Goals. I do have goals. Here, I'll tell you after she tells you that.
Listing would just be 15 a day for Posh.
Oh, for
and
Posh.
Then eBay, I'm thinking I might take my weekend because Chad has to work this weekend, and I might take and start doing some cross posting, but just making a butt ton of drafts.
How many
I will say the way I do it, because eBay is more complicated to list on. Mm-hmm. So when I'm manually cross-listing to Poshmark, I will create my eBay. This is what I have, and maybe we can go over this next week. I can show you, but I'll have a Poshmark tab open and an eBay. Mm-hmm. I have my pictures saved on the computer. I upload the pictures to the eBay tab. I then upload the pictures to the Poshmark tab. I create the title in eBay, copy and paste, put that on Poshmark. I then fill out the item specifics on eBay, go to the description, put that in there, copy and paste that to Poshmark, fill out the few Poshmark item specifics, do the pricing, and then I'll launch them both at the same. It really doesn't take that long, but I can do a demonstration next week so you can see what it looks like for me. But other than that, I do like the idea of cross-listing, but I think it is harder to cross-list from Poshmark to eBay. Probably a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and I can tell you now why I want to list more. And this is so first world, but
no. We have to have a number. More is too subjective.
Well, no, the why I was going to say as why I'm more motivated to list. Besides debt, which I hate that I'm used to it, but also I want to either trade, or I've told Brian, since I'll be doing more Uber probably, add a second vehicle, and I want an electric vehicle. So, because I'm obsessed now with everything electric, my electric vacuum, the battery that goes with the mower and all that. Oh, electric is like the most fascinating. It's so cool. I'm fascinated by this new technology.
Very unique reason why I've never heard.
Well, you want to have a house in Colorado, so I want to.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough.
And I think.
And by the way, I drive a Prius, so I'm halfway there. Mine's a hybrid.
But some of these new ones I've been watching when I couldn't sleep because I had night sweats from Omicron people. But
Yeah, some of these new electric vehicles are awesome because the no oil change and no filling up and all that crap, you know. And
Should make a video on that, Clay.
They'll get enough range that I could Uber all day too, you know.
James wants a vacuum with a V8. That's funny. But yeah, I think you do need to have your reason why for whatever it is. Whatever is going to get you to create a listing habit, then I'm down with that. And maybe next week we can look at listing and see how our listing's gone for the week. And Val, if you're able to get consistent daily listings on eBay, I'd be curious. We also need to look at your traffic tab. Oh, that's how we can evaluate it. Like eBay gives you a lot of analytics, so we can look at a traffic tab and compare that to sporadic listing versus daily listing once you start listing daily.
Okay. And then real quick, not to sound lazy, but what's like the minimum for listing on eBay that like feeds its algorithm?
It's totally based on you, but I would say at least 5 a day.
Okay.
But 5 to 10 a day. Obviously, the more the better, but you know, there's not a set number. I think just being consistent, whatever you do, will be beneficial.
Okay. All
right. Well, thanks for everybody that dropped by today. We'll catch you next Friday. Everybody have a good weekend.
Flippity flip.
Bye.
Dun, 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 dun.